Let's jump into some of the issues that we want to talk about. The drought on the prairies.
Yeah.
There seems to be some really tough weather. We've talked about the effects of weather on our food supply, but to talk about what your observations are about what's happening out there.
I got to tell you, I'm really concerned about water in general in North America. California is having already some issues. In the prairies, it's a dry June. In Quebec, soils are very, very dry as well. There's not a lot of moisture. Now, I'm here in Halifax where it's been raining forever. Some days I feel like I have to go out and build an ark. but in Ontario,
all the rain in the wrong place, right? Too much rain in the wrong place.
And this is what climate change is all about. You basically will have millimeters of rain in one area, but it's not really covering a whole lot. And some places are really affected by dryness. And this is really what in Canada, we need to focus more on. Well, okay, climate change is a reality. How do we mitigate against the effects of climate change? And it has a lot to do with capital and investments. Out in the prairies, you see a lot of farmers who've invested in really high-tech irrigation systems. And sometimes in some sectors, and I'm not going to name any sector in particular, but sometimes the knee-jerk reaction is to go into some sort of trouble because of Mother Nature and ask for a check from the government. Well, that's not sustainable anymore. You have to think strategically about your business. So, and I'm thinking about, control environment agriculture with greenhouses, vertical farms. We have to think about sophisticated irrigation systems, things like that. I don't think we've actually taken water all that seriously as an issue in North America, not just Canada, but in North America. And I think it's going to be a growing problem.
I remember our guest Sherilyn Jolly-Nagel talking about how she used drones and water sensing technology to understand precisely where and what part of her fields needed water. So that's clearly a solution. She's clearly invested in that sophisticated control of the elements. And it's funny. The past 18 months, not funny, haha, but funny, whatever. We've been focused on COVID, but climate change hasn't gone away.
No, exactly.
Maybe a few less airplanes and a few less cars on the road has actually been helpful in a micro way. But, I think it's an issue we're going to come back to. Let's talk about this.
And we've talked a lot about food autonomy in Canada, and certainly what you put in the soil, how you make things work, really inputs are critical for agriculture. And so I think we need to have a serious conversation about that. You can always, spend a few millions on high tech grocery stores or flashy things, but really it boils down to agriculture. And if you don't have a strong agricultural sector, you don't have much to rely on.
You don't have security. I mean, and you reminded me on the weekend I watched Percy. We talked about it in an earlier episode. The Percy Smyser movie about genetically modified corn, or that was Roundup resilient, but also for some of it is also drought resilient. So I just want to mention, I knew you knew Percy. He passed away last year.
Did you enjoy the movie?
I did. I'm a big fan of the actors, and I thought it was an interesting movie. That it was a little bit overwrought sometimes, the dark, menacing vans following the farmers kind of thing.
Monsanto.
That was a bit overbearing, but I thought it was good. I thought it was a very valid discussion.
Did he actually shoot people, Monsanto, or because in the clip, like in the trailer, you see Percy with a gun? So,
in the clip, it was some Monsanto folks on his land taking measurements, and he kind of said, "Get off my land." So there was never any gunplay. But it was, it's fairly dramatic. It's a very interesting story. And I'd encourage anyone of the listeners. It's now out on DVD or on the streaming services.
It's a divisive issue in the prairies. Of course,
I did not appreciate as much. I think it'd be interesting for you to watch it because you really had farmer against farmer. Like there was a really,
absolutely. A lot of farmers did not appreciate what Percy did. Absolutely not.
That rang out like it was Percy against the world in the movie. So
He fought for something, and I honestly, I've always said to farmers, you can be supportive of what Percy's trying to achieve. You got to admire his persistence. You got to admire his vision. He believed in
yeah,
something. He
yeah,
believed that really companies shouldn't be owning agriculture,
yeah.
and so that was his approach to his death. And so I do admire person. I honestly did not agree with him. I actually believe in biotechnology. I believe in this relationship between farmers and the biotechs, but he didn't, and he fought for it.
Yeah. Well, it was an interesting choice in the actors. Christopher Walken, as I said, I'm a big Christopher Walken fan. But anyway, I encourage everybody to watch the movie.
I wonder
Also check
if they would have picked if would have picked an actor like Joe Pesci, for example. Maybe it would have been a little bit different.
Yeah, I think he would have been attacking the Monsanto guys with a pencil. Kind of, if you think of that movie, get off my land.